Hey guys, it's Trevor the High Desert Tactical, and it's a cold day out today. It's all snowy, not snowing, but snowed over, and just out on the property shooting and fooling around, practicing drawing and shooting at a couple targets. Not doing very good on my aiming, but doing all right on my draw. I think I'm getting a little bit better, and yeah, we're shooting the Springfield XDs 45 ACP today, so got some shooting. Got some hokey video on Christmas Day. That was the first day I got to shoot it. Today is New Year's Eve, and I'm actually doing some official video shooting. So you'll see a little bit of shooting here, and then you'll get just some goofy just to see that I shot it on Christmas Day video that I shot on my phone. And that's about all I was doing. Got myself a couple assailants right here, if you can't tell. Spaced out a little bit and offset. I mean, that wouldn't be really what if two bad guys were really wanting to do me harm. I'm pretty sure that they wouldn't be standing 6 feet apart. But I'm just shooting on the property today, so it's not like I got a lot of room, and I have a very specific area where I shoot, so that way my rounds don't go flying off into the BFE where they don't belong. So I don't normally shoot on the property much, but I didn't feel like trying to drive out into the Timbuktu today. So got my safety glasses on and some hearing protection. I've done a lot of research, and I used to shoot without safety glasses, and never had any issues, knock on wood. But I decided to, as I've gotten older and smarter, I've decided, when you're out shooting, it's good to put on a pair of safety glasses and wear hearing protection. Of course, I'm pretty sure everybody that shoots guns, especially large caliber guns, are gonna wear hearing protection for sure. But I definitely encourage people to wear some safety glasses for sure, because there is a lot of issues. Rounds can be faulty, and barrels can break, chambers can foul, and you can get brass and powder in your face. And Iraqi veteran, he's got a video where Barry talks about wearing glasses, and it was safety. He had brass pieces up in his forehead from a gun that they got, and he was testing. And so yeah, that kind of triggered me to start wearing safety protection. So that's my safety talk today, and yeah, let's see what I can do here. You guys ready? Oh, I've got one round left. Yep. That was screwed up. Oh well. Alright guys, so this is my last batch of rounds. Got 6 in here, no spare mag. This would be kind of a situation where I was actually, if I was actually concealed carrying, which I do, but I mean if I was concealed carrying and I had I was out and about, and a criminal or some assailant decided to cause some problem or implicate harm upon others around me, and I decided to actually initiate an altercation with them, this would be kind of like one idea of how I would behave. I don't have a IWB holster. I'm using the actual paddle holster that comes with in the field kit that comes with the XDS, because I haven't had Ed over at Tracker Leather make me my IWB yet, but I am in the process of saving up the money to get that. But so I'm just practicing with this. I probably won't actually carry this gun until I get Ed's IWB holster. I actually was really funny as I got a hold of one of the Uncle Mike's in the pant holsters just to tie me over. And one thing that I ran into, and I never really had the problem with these before on all my other guns, but on the XDS, this front sight has sharp edges, okay? And it actually gets hung up inside this holster and gets snagged, and it actually tore a hole inside this holster, and I have some duct tape inside here that I use to kind of like get rid of that hole so the gun will slide in and out. But you can, it's like it gets hung up, and before I put the duct tape in there, the holster got snagged so bad that I actually couldn't draw this gun. And so the Uncle Mike's IWBs are in the waistband holsters. Don't work very well for the Springfield XDs because that front sight gets snagged on the fabric on the inside, and I don't want to risk ever having to, if I did have to draw my weapon, that causing an issue, because it actually got snagged so bad at one point in time that I had to like grab like a tool or like I think I used a butter knife, and I had to like run a butter knife down inside the little holster and like push on the fabric to get the sight to get unsnagged so I could remove the gun. So unfortunately I won't be able to carry my XDS until I either get edge tracker leather in the waistband holster, or I buy something maybe from Galco or something. But I'm very keen on getting edge holster, so I'll just probably have to wait and have that tie me over. So, but yeah, so you know, if I was out and about minding my own business and Mr. Bad Guy came by and wanted to cause issues, and I was armed with my XDS, this is kind of the idea of what I would do, and you know, that's what I would do. So here we go. I'm gonna try it again, so I kind of knowing what's going on. Oh, so I'm such a hoser. I was gonna surprise you guys. I was gonna surprise you guys because I was gonna draw my gun and then bust out this little bad boy as my backup. Oh my God! It's a North American Arms 22 mag. Woo! Whoa. That thing's wild. Oh man, it doesn't work very well with these gloves. You could end up shooting yourself in the face. So don't be wearing fabric gloves and trying to use this bad boy with a smooth handle. That's pretty crazy. But this is a crazy little gun. I'll be doing a review on it pretty soon. Put her in safety mode. So there she goes, safety mode. That way it's not the hammer's not resting on a round. Put her in my little tiny mini holster. Don't even know I got that backup on me. Had fire 6 rounds and whatever. I'm an idiot. But yeah, this is Trevor the High Desert Tactical, and I'm done shooting. And maybe I'll do a little breakdown on my XDS before I go inside. So let's get to that. So that's it, guys. This is the Springfield XDS. Finally got to shoot a bunch of rounds through it and actually tape some drawing and actually target acquisition. This gun is a good shooter, man. It's a sweet gun for especially a 45 single stacked compact. It doesn't kick as much as I would assume, and it actually, the way it cycles, it's got a super smooth cycle, and so the gun tends to stay dipped down. It doesn't want to like rock or like backflip out of your hand. And that's one thing about this I noticed that's really good. And comparatively, again, like when I did my comparison video of it and the LC9, it actually cycles just as smooth or even smoother than the LC9. I find it's actually easier after pulling the trigger. It's faster to get back on target and fire another round. Consecutive rounds are actually easier to shoot with this than the LC9. And I think a lot of it attributes to the single action trigger as well. One thing about some of the reviews say about the trigger on this gun, that it is kind of a, some people use the word horrendous for a single action. It's a little gritty. I don't know, for what it is, the trigger is fine. It's a good trigger. I mean, actually find it a lot smoother than anything. I'm actually a huge double action fan. All my guns are double action, especially my first handgun I ever shot was a revolver. So I was very familiar with double action and being able to use single action for a little bit more spot on shooting. But I've always been used to actually mechanically cycling the gun by squeezing the trigger. And I've always found that I felt that those are a lot safer. You have less unintentional trigger like firing. You like when you pull the trigger, you actually mean business, and that's the one thing. This gun, it's still taking a little bit of time for me to get used to being a single action, but it's still, the grip safety is one thing I like about it a lot. It doesn't have an actual physical safety, permanent safety on it, or like a safety keep, but it's got a grip safety and a trigger safety, so it's got a redundancy safety system. So it's really hard to actually pull the trigger. I'm like pushing on that trigger without pushing the actual trigger in there, or the little safety on the trigger, and it doesn't work. Pushing, not using the grip safety, pushing on the trigger, using the actual lever, still doesn't fire. You have to have the grip safety on and, you know, obviously the trigger safety. And so it's kind of a double redundancy without actually having to disengage the safety on like some of the more conventional firearms like my LC9. It has a slide safety on it. So if you kept it on safe, you'd have to disengage that before the gun was ready to fire. One thing about this I do like is that since it doesn't have a slide safety or on anything, it's less stuff to get hung up on the pistol. The downfall that I did find on it, like I was stating in the earlier video, is with the mics in the waistband holster, and there might be other different holsters out there as well, but you might want to take in consideration this front sight. It's got these sharp edges. I mean, like, it's getting snagged on my finger right now. I mean, that's how sharp these edges are, and they do get snagged in fabric style holsters, nylon and whatnot. So you want to make sure when you get yourself a holster that you draw the gun in and out many times before you know that it's not snagged in there, because if I go like this, the gun actually can hang in there. See how she's hanging up? Like that gun should just fall out, but it's not. It's hanging up. So it's getting hung up on the inside of this, and so I won't even carry this gun until I either get a leather holster and draw out of it a few times, make sure that it doesn't get hung up. I'm also thinking about trying to switch out the front sight on here and going to a different style sight, or if I have to, maybe buy another sight and ground down the sharp edges, round off these edges of this sight. It is a steel sight, so it's not plastic or anything, so you don't have to worry about like melting it. But that's one thing about this that I did not like, is that front sight gets snagged on fabric or nylon holsters. I'm not exactly sure how it'll work with some of the Galco belt line holsters, you know, the ones where they literally just like the gun sets in and it only covers like part of the action and the trigger, and the rest of the top and the barrel like hang down. I'm wondering if it'll get snagged on one of those if you pull, like draw, and like if your hand naturally twists when you draw, you could rock that barrel into where it'll get snagged on the edge of a holster or something like that. So that's something I got to take into consideration, which is making me lean more towards going over to Ed and having Ed actually make my holster for me this time. My LC9 holster, it's a generic model that he made, so he just busts out a few of those. But I did talk to him when I bought my XDS. He said that I could bring in the gun, and he, you know, he'll obviously use my gun to model his holster, but he'll make the holster however I like it. One thing about it that I am going to go with a little bit, and some people, there are, you know, it's up to opinion and like in sacrifice in the situation, but the thing that I think I'm going to do with my next in the waistband or my IWB is I'm going to have it ride a lot lower in my belt line than my LC9 does. My LC9 sits up pretty high. If you've watched my tracker leather video on the LC9, I do explain on the second video about how high it sits and that I don't really care for that. Now there are pros to that. The higher that sits up, kind of like almost like a pancake holster, it's easier to access and draw from and not get bound up in your belt or in your pants. All you got to do is make sure you lift your shirt high enough out of the way and draw. That's one thing about it. You always can get a good grip onto the grip of the gun with a higher concealed holster. I think I'm going to go with a little bit more of, I'm going to have mine ride lower where I'm going to actually have to pinch the gun to draw it, and then I may have to reset my grip. Now this is where my logic plays, just in case you guys may be thinking that's just crazy, but this is where my logic plays. I don't ever think that I'm going to ever fast draw on somebody or some assailant. I think the first thing I will do is hopefully I'm not the first in the sights of the assailant or the person, or I'm fast enough to catch them before they catch me. I'm going to take cover, assess the situation, assess the assailant, and then assess people around me that are not the victims, or the people that are not people that I have to interact with. I assess that. In that meantime, while I'm doing that, I will be drawing my weapon and preparing, and then I will go from there. After whatever plays out, my decisions will go from that point on. But my first thing will be is to take cover and then draw my weapon. That's the thing that I've gone at. I don't want to try to fast draw on anybody, because, like, you know, there's always somebody bigger and faster than you out there. There's always bigger fish in the world. That's what my dad used to tell me when I used to talk about how much I didn't like something or a job. I want to go to get a different job. He's like, you know, you're going to have to deal with people like that all the time. There's bigger fish out in the world, man. There's never going to be perfect. But I'm getting off subject. But yeah, that's what I think I'm going to go with that route. And I really appreciate you guys watching my channel again. And like I said, today's New Year's. So have a safe and happy New Year's tonight, or New Year's Eve. So it's actually New Year's Eve. I'm sorry, not New Year's, but today's New Year's Eve. So have a safe and happy New Year's Eve. Be out there, get a designated driver if you need, and just make sure everything's good. Yeah. So Trevor with High Desert Tactical, Happy New Year's. And if you can pack it, and always be prepared, guys. All right, take care. God, it's cold. In the XDS. So you open this puppy up. It's a nice little kind of Pelican style case.